remember what a person said to you, but you will remember how they made you feel. Now, one, I was getting a six-figure check that day, right? You know, we hear it all the time. Me being an agent, I hear it all the time. I'm in the office full of agents.
Yeah.
Wholesaling is illegal.
Yeah.
Legal or not?
It is legal. It is very legal.
Thank you. From an attorney, closing attorney. What's going on, family? We are back in the building with another episode of the Rob Van Harris Show. Guys, welcome back. Rather this is your first time, or rather you just a returning member, guys, of the Rob Van Harris Show. Welcome back, guys. Hey, man, listen. Quick recap. If you don't know what this show is about, guys, we focus on real estate. But we don't only want to help you to thrive in real estate, guys. We want to help you guys and assist you in helping you to thrive in life, right? So we bring in real people, man, with real success stories, right? And that's doing things out here to yield real results. So today, man, I'm excited, guys. I know I say it all the time, man, but I promise you I am excited because I have a friend with me today, guys. He's a closing attorney, right? I close a lot of deals with this man. He's very knowledgeable. When I mention the name of the company, if anybody that's somebody in the real estate industry, when I tell you, you have to be living up underneath a rock to not have heard of this company, man. If you're a player in the game, you've heard of this company. And man, without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and get locked and loaded, man, because the hour go by so fast. So guys, like, comment, subscribe. This is really going to shine a lot of light and help a lot of people, man. Again, I have an attorney in the building today, and he's going to help us to get a lot of answers to these questions, man, regarding investing in real estate. Without further ado, guys, I would like to introduce to you my friend, my man, Jack Noonan. What's going on, friend?
Oh, thank you so much. I'm excited.
I'm good. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited, man, because I'm so excited, Jack, because you and I have these awesome, incredible conversations behind the screen, right? Like usually, you know, the conversations that you and I touch on are usually done at the closing attorney's office, right?
Yeah.
And it's just so much revelation and knowledge that's poured out within that room. And I'm just like, Jack, I said to you one day, I said, Jack, you know what, man? Me and you our conversations are so good. I got to get you onto the show, man.
Yeah, I got to get you. That's the thing. We're at the closing table 30 minutes after the clients have left, just all the documents are signed, or just good nuggets back and forth.
Every
it's
time.
A great sharing. Yeah.
Every time.
So happy to be here. Excited.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. So my name, again, Jack Noonan. I work at Wiseman. We're a real estate law firm in the greater metro Atlanta area. We have 20 offices from LAJ all the way down to Valdosta is our newest one. So offices all over the state of Georgia, so we can help anywhere we need to. Basically, what we try to do is we have our residential real estate practice, you know, the more traditional buyers, sellers type things as well. We also have, which is how we kind of got introduced with our investor team and working on investment deals and things of that nature, as you know. And then all the way over to the litigation side, real estate litigation, business thing, commercial, that whole development out of our Buckhead is our main office. I'm out of our perimeter in Sandy Springs, Georgia, if you're not local, near the King and Queen building. That's what I like to, my landmark I normally give. But yeah, so I've been there about a little over 3 years and love it. And it's just, you know, I came from a firm before where we actually met.
Yeah, that's what we first
He was buying his son a PlayStation. During our closing, he was signing the documents on the side. Absolutely. It was a fun closing. And I was like, I love the energy. So
somebody said, "What's up, Jack?" Yeah, man, Jack, listen, Wiseman, guys, they're a very well-known company here in Atlanta, Georgia, man. Like I said, every investor know of this company. You know, so Jack, I mean, you guys work with a lot of investors, but you also work with regular traditional buyers, sellers, you know, pretty much everybody that's looking to sell or buy a house, right?
Right, exactly. And that's the kind of the bread and butter of our residential real estate practice. Seth Wiseman, of course, Wiseman is the general counsel for the Georgia Association of Realtors. And those the organization that writes the contracts and has all the traditional GAR contracts that we
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So we know these contracts backwards, forwards. And if I don't know the answer, I can talk to Seth, who's right down in our phone directory, or down the hall if you're in Buckhead, with those answers. And it's a huge resource to have. And one of the ways that we do stand out, other than other firms in the city, there's a very, very competitive city, as we all know, in Atlanta. But it's a huge standing out point for our company and our firm. So it's something we really hold near and dear, and really take a lot of pride in, that we do have that. And Seth, honestly, as the name partner and everything.
That's amazing. Yeah, because we get emails from, because I'm also a licensed real estate agent as well. So to this day, I get emails from my brokerage, and yeah, man, he's the head man that basically, when laws and things like contracts, things on the contracts get changed, he has sent an email to our brokerage, and then they basically forward it over to all the agents within the company as to the new, things that's been recently updated, and it's keeping everybody in the loop, man.
Yeah, education, that's a huge piece of our firm as well, is the education piece, helping all agents, no matter if you're a first-time agent or a seasoned investor, real estate agent as well, no matter what it is, where we try to educate, because the contracts are constantly changing and everything of that nature, which people don't always love. However, it's huge to stay on the pulse of the changes, and that's the one thing that we try to offer more than anything else.
I love that, because here's the thing, man, you want to keep everybody safe, including yourself. You know what I mean? And that's the part, like, I try to explain to people, like, if you're going to be in this industry, if you're going to do real estate, do it the right way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's why I tell investors, ask me all the time, Rob, should I go get my license? Rob, if I'm doing a transaction, do I need an agent? And I'm like, well, it just depends. It just depends on how knowledgeable you are in regards to the paperwork. Who do you like? I'm the type person, I'm like, look, if you are an investor looking to fix and flip, wholesale, whatever it may be, when it comes to the legal documentation side of things, it won't hurt to have an agent who specializes in reviewing contracts and making sure they continuing education and things like that on board with you, to just make sure that all parties is protected.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's the biggest piece, the biggest piece. And of course, from the legal side of things as well, but the protection. You want to be protected, because there are so many things that, even if you feel like up and down the contracts, there's a new change like we just talked about, or something else that really could stand out, and you could catch you if you're not ready for it, and have the deal go completely sideways on you.
That's real quick. We gonna get into that, man. I've closed tons with Wiseman. One time we were working on a deal at 11 p.m. to save it from auction respect. My man.
Sounds about right.
My man, that's my man, Rock. Yeah, man. That sounds about right, because those, especially those, if they getting funding and things like that, like if it's traditional funding, sometimes y'all got to get all the paperwork back to the lenders. The lenders have to approve, all the documents and things like that. Let's talk about that a little bit, Jack. People who may not, because we have everybody here like Rock that just came up, from experienced investors, from people that just now got into the game. They're looking to learn. They don't even know the terminology, closing attorney, and all this that we're talking about. Like, what do a typical closing transaction look like for somebody that's an investor looking to get into the game? Or how would they go about basically submitting a contract to you guys one-on-one? Like, what do a closing transaction look like from your perspective?
Yeah, and that's a good place to start. And backing all the way up to the beginning, how I always like to describe it is we are the referee in the transaction. So we're the referee. We don't really play a side, because we always represent the banks or the lender. So that's the representation, legal representation we have, but we play as a referee to make sure all the terms or rules are being followed, being the terms of the contract.
That's good.
And we do what we call a title examination. I'll get into a little bit more detail about that in a second. But what we do when we do the title examination on the property that's being sold is we check for unpaid mortgages, unpaid liens, tax bills, water bills, HOA liens, credit card liens, tax liens, a lot of different things that can come up, and do come up a lot of the time, that people don't know about when you're just getting into the game. So what we do is, play on the analogy a little bit more, is blow the whistle when we do see a lien come up on the property, say, whoa, or a title defect in general, which can get kind of in the weeds a bit, but we just call or blow the whistle and say, we need to address this to make sure the buyer is buying clear and marketable title. That's the buzzwords that we always look for, is the clear and marketable title. So it's important to have, because one is a contract protection you have in the normal Georgia the GAR contract. Again, we'll touch on that a little bit, but the
Mm-hmm.
GAR contract has in the boilerplate language, it has to be clear and marketable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the responsibility of the closing agent or the closing attorney to find all of those and then bring them to the seller, normally it's attention, and then facilitate the transaction all the way through, keeping everyone within the bounds of the contract and getting to the closing table or getting to the end, which is the closing table. So
and that's pretty much. I like the terminology, like the referee.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because, and then you touched on another phrase that I'm familiar with, of course, but that's something you want to hear: clear and marketable title, because that's your peace of mind.
Yes.
Because if it's not clear and marketable, that's mean there's a cloud in the title somewhere, right?
Exactly.
And you guys prevent that from affecting the person that's about to basically convey ownership, right? That's about to receive ownership.
Exactly. And that's the question you always get, and not as much in Georgia, but I hear it a lot in other states that don't have. So back up a little bit. Georgia is one of the states that requires an attorney to do the closings. Other states, Tennessee, things like that, you just need a title company.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you've heard, if you're not from Georgia, you've heard that elsewhere. But the key question that we get sometimes is, do we really need an attorney? And the thing about that is, if you don't have an attorney in this industry, there are so many different issues that could come up that you're purchasing that property with these problems, but in the back door of something that you don't know that when you're purchasing it. And that's what you don't find out until you sell it down the road. And then you're stuck with your seller's original lien or original cloud on title.
Yeah, cloud
and
on
it happens,
title.
and it happens more than I can say. I mean,
yeah.
It really happens a lot, to where it's so important to get everything kind of the paperwork done, the title complete and clear, is what we keep using that word. But it is so important to have that when you go through it, either, again, first time buying your forever home, or an investor doing a fix and flip or something.
That's so true. What's some of the pitfalls or mistakes that you see a lot of investors make?
So one of the biggest things I see a lot of is disclosing things. Disclosure on the documentation that we have. There's getting in the weeds a little bit, but it's a seller's property disclosure. And if you know about a defect, and we're not even talking about title issues anymore, but like a leaky roof, or a broken or a faulty foundation, or you had an inspection and that inspection came back and something was wrong, and you don't disclose that, that's the biggest pitfall of investors that I see. Because when the buyer buys it and they find that problem, even if it's after closing, they have to prove, of course, that you knew about it. But there's sometimes paper trails to where these investors get caught, and it happens more than you would like to think about by not disclosing it. Georgia, luckily, does have the law in place, and we call it buyer beware. And so it is the responsibility of the buyer to get an inspection done and to find these, what they call latent defects. Yeah. But if the seller knows about them, or the owner knows about them, they do have to disclose those. So if you don't know about them, it's okay. So again, getting into the weeds a little bit, but if you're doing like an A to B to C transaction and deal, you don't know the property, because you're just holding it on the A to B, the flip side of things. So you can kind of, out of sight, out of mind, don't have to worry about that as much. But if you're fixing and flipping, and you know that you kind of put lipstick on a pig and there's a huge issue on it, that can come back to bite you.
That's so good. And when he's referring to A to B, B to C, guys, real estate is literally documentation and information. Yes, Rock, good information, man. Rock going to be one of our guests coming up, man. I think Rock scheduled in the next 2 weeks. That's my guy. He's a fix and flipper, man. Yeah, guys. Yeah, load us up, guys. Please, comments, guys. Share the podcast, guys. And yeah, man, like, man, and subscribe, guys. If y'all over on the YouTube channel, y'all know, man, we work really hard and getting y'all on great guests like this. And the only way, guys, we can continue to grow the YouTube channel, man, and bring on awesome guests like Jack, like Rock, like all the other guests that we've had in the past, guys. Special stipulation beats everything.
That's so true.
That's true. That's true. Is by you guys supporting the podcast. Well, the show. We don't call it the podcast.
That's right. Okay.
The show.
I like it.
It's the show now. But let me ask you this question. We just touched on something. So what if you don't fill out, because it's a document that's called the seller property disclosure. But
Mhm.
what if the seller
Mhm.
don't fill out a seller property disclosure?
So that's the thing. So there is, you are able to do that. However, there's boilerplate language in the GAR purchase and sale contract. So that's what you go under contract with, that has a section for latent defects. So the property disclosure is a little bit more detailed in like, are you, does the fridge go with the house, or is this and that? So that's the thing. But it does ask a lot more detailed questions. You normally see that in every traditional, we'll call it traditional for the sake of the show. But the thing with, if you don't fill out one of those, you are kind of pleading ignorance. But if there's ever a way they can come back and find, and they catch you with that, that's where the problems come.
And but plus, it's easy as just doing a latent defect form too, though. A lot of people don't, like you said, when they're doing the A to B, B to C, they don't know much about the property because they never lived there or anything, right? But you can do it. You can actually have you can sign a documentation that's in the GAR forms. That's called, it's like a seller property disclosure, but it's like a latent defect. You're basically letting them know that you don't know much about the property. And will that document, if they were to sign that document and give that to the buyers, is that more of a layer of a protection? Yeah,
that's sufficient. It really, like, especially if it's true, and I hate thinking negative on people, but that's what the law is. I live in the gray area.
That's why the episode is called Listen, that's why we called it, man, the legal side of real estate.
Exactly. And so you're correct. Yes, if that is the truth and you're using that way, that is what you're supposed to do. I don't know anything about the property. I only got it for 2 seconds. In that case, but it's the pitfall to go. The question would be more if you're trying to skirt around a actual issue with the foundation or property or something that could be traced back to you with any type of knowledge that you had before.
Disclose, guys. The foundation issue is plumbing problems. You know that it's waste backing up to the house and things like that. Disclose.
Yes.
Like, everybody, look, I sell a lot of properties. Y'all follow me. Look, y'all follow me. Y'all see I sell a lot of properties as is, but I disclose. I have to disclose a lot of things. Problems with the property, that I'm a licensed agent. Disclose, guys. It's not going to hurt or harm you. Just disclose. If you know something that's wrong with the property, disclose it. Jack, take this one, Jack.
So what you want to do, or do you believe it's necessary? So I would say it's always good. So I think if you were to do the research into finding your properties or looking into the investment properties you want to make, that is there's enough information out here as I'm sitting next to it for you to get the information you need to make that next step. However, I would still advise, even if you are feeling comfortable with it, you hire an agent to help you with that decision. Because again, we're talking about protection here. We're talking about as much knowledge as you can gain, bettering yourself, as the whole show is about, bettering yourself and to becoming a better investor. And even if you're not using them for every deal, if you're talking about, I think the question alluded to being your first deal, if you found a property or going into investing, I would say you want to go ahead and hire that realtor and real estate agent, because it's important to have that, again, teacher with you. And then once you get comfortable with it, then you can look into getting a license for yourself. And so I wouldn't necessarily hold back into going into your investment portfolio just to get your real estate license, because it's a long process, because there's tests and everything you got to take. So don't let the good deal pass you by if you have that. And then just simultaneously also try to get that real estate license to just better educate yourself, be a better resource.
Yep. And my answer to that question is going to be the same, guys. Like, if you don't have the experience, why not hire somebody that do? Exactly. Like, it's not that deep. Bring an agent into your team, or bring an investor, a seasoned investor that can walk you through the process until you're able to stand on your own too and start going through these transactions yourself. Because again, it's not about just protection for you. See, when you bring the right party on your team, rather that's a real estate agent or a seasoned investor, somebody that just know the documentation portion of the process, all parties is protected. And that's what gives you a peace of mind at the end of the day, to be able to sleep at night knowing that, hey, man, I just purchased a house. It was done right. All parties were protected. in the process, right? And I don't have to worry about this thing coming around and biting me down maybe a month or two later on down the line. You know what I mean? He talked about that clear and marketable title. That thing is key because a lot of investors, they do stuff like, and let's talk about this a little bit, like what are some of the things you recommend when purchasing a property that an investor do to protect themselves?
Yes. So biggest answer to that is owner's title policy.
Ooh, let's talk.
Yeah. Owner's title insurance, owner's title and policy. It
Mhm.
is super, super critical for every one of your transactions. What it is it's insurance in your ownership of the property. So let's say that we're searching that title, something is missed or something comes up on the title examination that was not found or cleared, and it's not clear and marketable title. You can still purchase owner's title policy that will cover you if anything were to come up. There are situations where it's not even nefarious or it's not even like the attorney missed something. It is to where here's a perfect example. And this happened a few, probably weeks ago on an invested property. There was someone that was buying the property. They got title insurance and they gave us a call and said that there was a mechanics lien. And so they purchased it from someone else. And a mechanics or materialman's lien is a vendor was not paid. So I think it was in this case, a flooring company was not paid for their work. They were not paid. They saw the house sold. So they're like, I didn't get paid from this closing. I'm putting a lien on that property. This lien was not filed until after the closing. Ooh. So we didn't miss it. The attorney before didn't miss it. And no one did anything wrong, except, of course, the seller that didn't pay. Wow. But it was still, if the seller was not to be found and just, disappeared, that buyer would have to pay that lien when they sold the property down the road if they did not have owner's title insurance. And that's why it's key. Because of that, you have to have it when you do have title insurance. They file a claim like any insurance, health insurance, car insurance, things of that nature. You file a claim and then they paid the lien for them.
Wow.
And that's what it is. It's just really the protection you need. And of course, like any other insurance, you don't think you need it until you need it.
That's right.
And with some of these investors that are cutting costs and trying to pinch pennies, and they have everything on their spreadsheets, which is, I love the spreadsheets, but you don't try to cut costs and title insurance, because owners have title insurance. And then kind of just going a little bit wider back, the lender, if you are doing hard money or anything of that nature, they also have a lender title policy. And this shows you how important it is. Lenders will not let you not accept title insurance. However, owners is technically optional. So if the people that are lending you money have that title insurance, that shows you how important it is. Because if they want it, that means you should want it.
Yeah, they won't. You can't even. Unless the only way you can get around that if you're borrowing money from like an uncle or an aunt or a private lender, that really don't operate as a actual private lender, hard money lender, or something like that. But like they're going to, a lender, a private money lender, hard money lender, for the most part, they're going to make sure if you're purchasing a property, look to do a fix and flip or something like that, they're going to make sure you purchase title insurance and a lender policy. Yes. I mean, there's two types of insurances on there. It's title insurance to make sure that Jack talked about it's an accident, right? You call up the insurance company, they make sure they rectify the issue. And lender insurance, they want to make sure their money is protected, because if I'm your lender and I'm giving you $200,000, that lender policy, that's my peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing for you to be protected, but I want to make sure my money is protected. Yeah. So guys, always make sure you get a lender policy and a title policy. Make sure you always get that. How do you feel about assisting in filing Chapter 17 just to stop foreclosures to complete a sale, and don't say it depends?
You already know the answer. You're asking a question. No. That is God, you're going to get me right there.
Come on, Rod.
I know, right?
Come on, Rod, with them questions. I'm loving it, baby. Those some good questions.
Keep
them coming, man.
But that is a tough one, because every situation is different. I'm playing right into it depends. But it is... every situation is different. Chapter 17 has its own whole can of worms that I don't even personally know on the real estate side of things. I just know that if you delay the foreclosure itself, the money is going to be due at the end some way or the other. Even if you're one of the creditors is the mortgage company and you're defaulting on that with the chapter bankruptcy, Chapter 17 bankruptcy, you're still going to it doesn't fully clear you of that, because one, there's going to be another creditor that comes up that's going to attach it to the property itself, which is a whole nother discussion. But without getting too far in the weeds, that is my very general answer to keep this.
No, that's good. That's good. No, we're going to keep it moving, man. What's some of the trends you're seeing right now in the real estate market, Jack, from your perspective?
The trends, it's been a weird market right now, because I think, and this is not necessarily fully on the investor side, kind of just general of real estate as a whole, but the interest rates are top of mind. You turn on Good Morning America and they talk about the Fed and Jerome Powell and this and all that, and that's all anyone can talk about, which makes people think, one, that the Fed rate and the mortgage rates are attached, which is not true, which we can get into, but two, the second thing is everyone's waiting for the interest rates to drop. And I tell this to everyone when they're buying the property and they're like frustrated at their 6.5% or 6.5% interest rate. And they're talking like, oh, well, my friend has a 3.25. You have to think about that in the terms of, we were in a global pandemic. So if you are expecting that to happen again, it's going to be another global pandemic, which I don't think anyone wants to live through again. So it's stuff like that that those are the trends I'm seeing, that the people were not okay with the interest rates. I think luckily it's starting to turn. I talked to a couple lenders recently as well, that the volume of orders that they're getting, applications and orders that they're getting on the lending side have increased over the past about month and a half, which is really good. That's good. So how we see it is, the lenders always see it first, because that's when you're sending your application and you do that. And then the realtors brought into it and they find the house, and then it's kind of into the contract part. So we see it about 30 days after the contract for our closings. But to what I'm leading to is, our contracts and closings in the month of September outgained our projections. And all of our projections for September were pretty conservative. So it's good to see that being higher than expecting. So I'm hoping it's trending in the right direction.
Y'all are dropping gems right now. Thank y'all. No, man, that's what we here, guys. That's what we're here to do, man. I'm glad to see you on the YouTube page too, Zach. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody, Instagram, Facebook, go to the YouTube page so I can see your names. Guys, I need to see the names. Guys, help me to help y'all. Please go to the YouTube channel. Man. All right, guys, continue, man. Continue to subscribe, like, share, guys. This is heating up. We just starting, guys. We just starting. This is good, man, because you know what? So some of the trends, just to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying, when I get people saying that, like, I've literally had investors saying, like, they're playing the sidelines right now. Like, they out the game. They're waiting for the interest rates to drop. A lot of buyers got out the market because they're claiming that they're like, we're waiting for the interest rates to drop. And I'm like, drop to what? Exactly. I'm like, so in summary, Jack, what you're saying, that all the people that's playing the sidelines from an attorney perspective, that's waiting for these 2s or 3s to roll back around, they're going to be waiting for a very long time, huh?
Very long time. Yeah. You're not going to say it.
To the cows come home,
Yeah, exactly. We were in a weird time when we had 3% interest rates. You're not going to say it. I mean, you might see a 0.5% over the next year. And that's what people are going to have to just swallow, sit with, and understand. And then if they want that dream house that they've been looking at on Zillow for the past 6 months, you got to make the decision at a 6, well, hopefully for 6% interest rate. And that's just where we are right now.
And the only way, I'm telling you right now, the only way you're getting around, guys, having an interest rate really like with a 6 in front of it right now is by doing something creative, getting into creative financing transactions. All right. So would you say we should get an agent while working towards our own license? And would you say that we should have a certain amount of experience before we, branch off and having I would say that you have a certain amount of experience for sure before you start branching off and doing your own thing. I would say keep a real estate agent in your back pocket, because a real estate agent, it's people. My team is like 70% real estate agents, but we don't do no traditional real estate, right? But it is always good. Like, if we don't have an agent representing us, like when we buy properties, the agents that bring us those deals or sell us those properties, they represent us. You know what I mean? They literally represent us. So we work and allowed our agent to represent us. And I know that I could sleep peacefully at night because at the end of the day, even though I am an agent, I know how to read contracts and things like that. I didn't always know how to read contracts, right? I didn't always have the experience that I currently have in my tool belt. But I always was a believer in getting with the person who knew how to do the thing. And once I was able to get with the person that knew how to do the thing, they taught me to do the thing. And then when I was ready to basically take the trainer wheels off and ride on my own, I did it. You know what I mean? But if you're just really learning to make sure you're protected, yeah, get a real estate agent. What's your opinion?
I would agree. I mean, wonderfully said. That's really what it is. You'll know when you're ready. I think that's a good way to say it, because there are so many different things in investor type deals that are I wouldn't say unusual, but it's not like your normal cookie cutter traditional transaction. So there are things that you have to learn, and it would be great, as Rob was just saying, to have a realtor or real estate agent tell you that, as opposed to you learning it on your own, unrepresented, and then you're in a world of hurt that could be, a little more costly than you would want it to be if you had a real estate agent with you. So
I totally agree, man. That's it right there, guys. How is the I seen something about wholesaling about to become illegal?
So it's a good question, and that's something Rob had brought up. And it's in this big, beautiful bill, this new Trump policy that was put into place recently. And he asked me about it. I actually don't know the details, and I don't want to give you wrong information and try to just sit up here and act like I know what I'm talking about. We can do a follow up of some sort, email or post or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a part two.
Yeah. And I can do more research. That's a great question. Sorry, I don't have the information on it. I do know that it was specifically brought up in this new bill. But I don't have that information, unfortunately.
That was good. And again, I'm not a legal attorney, but I do keep my eyes to regulation and laws and things like that that's going into effect, again, because it's my business, right? So I always keep my ear to the street regarding new laws and things like that. So yeah, that's a good. So let me say something about that. Yes, based off of what I'm hearing, guys, one, this is already in effect. You have to disclose if you're going to wholesale a property. It's no more, locking them up in contracts that's outside of GAR forms and not disclosing to the seller. Like, you literally have to disclose to the seller, hey, I'm a wholesaler. I'm not the real buyer. However, I have buyers, real buyers with real money who I'm going to take this property to, and that's going to ultimately take us through to the finish line. You just have to disclose it. That's like right now, that's an effect right now. Two, the interest. So what happens is when you was assigning contracts and things like that, you had what we refer to as equitable interest. I think the word was it equitable interest?
I believe so. That sounds correct.
So what's happened is they taken that away, which means that the double closings definitely the double closings and the assignment portion is going to be out the window. So really what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to have to roll up their sleeve, go raise private capital and start taking these properties down. And which for me, I'm going to be honest with you, man, wholesaling, and assignments and all that is good. But it's just like with anything in life, with every great thing comes, bad people, man, that's doing bad things. And what happens is when you start, hurting the general public, you know what I mean? Rules and regulations is going to go into effect to make sure that the public is protected. And that's what's happening right now. That's what we're seeing. And it's starting to go into effect. And it's going to be I think if based off of my understanding of what I'm doing research on or what I've been hearing, in another year, you're going to have to take these properties down, buy them and resell them, hands down.
Yeah, it'll be disclosure. I think that's the kind of the buzzword we talked about earlier is disclosure. They're doing a lot of consumer protection in that, and the disclosure piece of it, letting the seller knowing what you're going to be doing with it, if it is something like that, is the vital piece of that, and why I guess like the reasoning behind it. So correct. Daily. I think since it's being recorded, I'll be as nice as possible. No, I'm just kidding. I think the biggest thing you want to look for is someone that has done a variety of different deals. So if you're just straight up searching, the question was, sorry, for the people that are not reading, the question was, what is the best ways or best advice to find a realtor, a real estate agent? So you want to, they all have, every real estate agent has a portfolio of what they've bought or what they've sold and represented on the buy sell or the buy side or the sell side. You want to try to find people that have a portfolio that is very diversified, and it's not just one type of transaction and deal. That's the biggest thing. I think the experienced agents, yes, you can find a new agent that knows everything about everything, that's only done one or two deals that wouldn't come up in that portfolio site that you're looking at. But I think it's important to have a diversification of their portfolio of what they've represented, because that would then give them a lot of knowledge all the way up and down the spectrum, to high price points, to low price points, and then everything in between. If you see like a quadplex or a duplex or something like that in the portfolio, speaking really more towards the investment property.
Yeah.
What do you thoughts
Yeah.
about that?
I mean, and here's the thing, man, just get somebody that strongly agree. Yeah, just get somebody, guys, that specialize in working with investors, man. That's all. I mean, it's a lot of agents that specialize in working with investors. And again, if you can't find an agent, find an investor friend. If you hear, I guess, take it, you guys, you're a follower of me, you following my journey. We work with other wholesalers. We believe in relationships is key, right? So we're big. My whole business, guys, we don't do no marketing. And we do pretty good, right? No marketing channels. We're not promoting anything. It's based off of having a good name and basically helping people and adding value to other people in their businesses, guys. And likewise, like what they do naturally, it just comes back. So I would get with an experienced investor. For investor, you can find this person in networking groups. You can find this person here over in the chat. A lot of these people are investors. Whoever posted that question, a lot of these people are investors that know the game, that's doing plenty of deals a month. I know this because I know a lot of these people that's over here in the chat, guys. So team up, squad up with these people, guys, link up with these people, become friends. Remember, the power of your success is built on relationships. The more relationships you gain, the more relationships you basically get as you continue to build your experience in this business, the more successful you will become. I promise you. Build those relationships.
And that's key. I saw that in the comments right there. Interview before. That's a huge one.
That's right.
Huge one.
I like that, right?
Because they're trying to get your business. You have the power in that situation.
Yeah.
And you sit with them and they feel off, or they feel like they're overcompensating. They don't know what they're talking about. Then you can go on the next one and try to find a better one that fits.
I love that. Rock is actually going to be the guest, guys. I'm going to repeat that. Rock is actually one of our guests next week, man. He's going to be here live and in person, guys. So we're going to get going. It's going to be fun, man. But this is what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying, guys? These is all relationships.
Exactly.
I know Jack. Jack was one of the, I never told you this, Jack, but we met around maybe 6 years ago. You was with another firm at that time, and you cut me my first 6-figure check.
No way.
You cut me my first 6-figure check.
Incredible.
And it's a saying that say you may not always remember what a person said to you, but you will remember how they made you feel. Now, I was getting a 6-figure check that day. It's hard to forget that, but I remember how you made me feel, dude.
That's great.
I remember how you made me feel when we bumped into each other at another closing attorney. Years later, me and you've been rolling ever since. But I remember because at that time, I asked you to write a check, because usually we always get wires. I asked you to write me a check because we was ready to close out the year, and my company had made a good amount of money that year. I didn't want to put that 6-figure check in the account and get hit with the tax burden, right? Yeah. That's before, guys, I found out about depreciation. See, that's what I'm talking about. Why you got to watch this show. We talk about, creative financing and how every property I buy, I get a huge tax benefit because I get depreciation from these things, guys. It's huge. But Jack was the first one to cut me my first 6-figure check, man.
I did not realize that. That's awesome.
Hey, Jack. So we do a he said, I ain't trying to buy your listing. You buy and my money with your listing. I ain't trying to buy your listing. You buy my money with me. Yeah, that's true, man. That's it. Exactly. That's it. I'm telling you. So we we as investors, me especially, I do a lot of traveling. I just flew in this morning. I flew in from Philadelphia, back to the A. Do a lot of traveling and things like that, Jack. Going to, conferences. I buy properties out of state. Go to networking events and things like that. What do you recommend? Because I know
Jack's travel hack.
Hey, look, man.
I'll plug it.
This is Jack Travel Hacks. And look, he an attorney, but this man tap into the travel hacks heavy. And he teaches us how to basically get these hotels and these planes and stuff off of points, man. So first of all, before I dig into that, because again, I spent a lot of money on travel, What is traveling hacks? For people who don't have even heard of that terminology.
Exactly. So move up in my chair. So it's my side hustle. So I'm very passionate about this.
Yes, he is.
But it's something that I found basically right before COVID, and then just deep dive, and I haven't found myself out of it. So travel hacking, specifically with what I do and try to educate people on, is traveling on credit card points and miles. So everyone, has their Sky Miles or their Amex points or everything, but it's the way to maximize and use those in situations to best help you going forward. So how I kind of always look at it is that we're all spending money on something, and especially we'll get into the investor world in just a second. But even if you're the first time seeing the show, just here to hang out and have nothing to say about investing, you're spending money on something. So what you can do is always maximize that spend to better help you to gain points, credit card points or miles, and then use those for traveling for free or nearly free.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and what I never noticed was just how accessible travel is. It's one thing I, came from we didn't travel much. Our trip to the beach was like the big summer vacation and everything. I did not come from a background of traveling at all. And then because I always thought it was unattainable, like, nothing like super rich and super famous people do it. Not everyone can afford it and do all that. But after finding credit card points and miles, it opened up truly the world and cultures and ideas and different things that I never had when I was younger, that I'm now integrating myself into, and it's just opened up so much of a different mindset, which again, that's a whole side conversation, but it really is. That's why I'm so passionate about it, is because how much I just love travel and what we can maximize, and you can kind of go through and we can go what we were going to talk about. But with investors specifically, it can be wilderness. Yeah, I gotta say, we go to national parks.
When you said travel, I was thinking like wilderness and stuff.
Yeah, it can go in the wilderness. You can go camp. That's fine. But yes, I love that. So London to watch a soccer game. Yes, it's insanely attainable to be able to go to London. Is one of the easiest routes. Atlanta to London direct. You can get that for like 9,000 points on Chase points. It's an economy. So I will say we'll go into first class and all that, but that is economy. And you can get that for just, spending a little bit on groceries every month on the right credit card. It's that easy. And it just, when that opened up and I saw how attainable it was, I keep using the word, but it really is true. I just took it and ran, and we've done so many vacations across the world, my wife and I, and we do probably 6 to 8 to 10 trips a year, and these are like bigger trips.
Wow.
And it's mostly free travel. So
what's the best CC company for travel points? We use Amex for Delta, Sky Miles, but curious.
Yeah, so it's always funny living in Atlanta. And this might be a little sacrilegious, but I don't necessarily love Delta's program and how they've changed their Sky Mile awards. Everyone has the card, and it is very beneficial to accrue and gain a lot of Sky Miles. However, I would say Chase is probably my favorite. So Chase credit card portfolio or Amex. And Amex is kind of the one I think you mentioned there. But you want the travel points, and I'm just gonna ramble, so you cut me off whenever.
No, you
want the credit card travel points that best fit your flights and your travel style. So if you know you're only flying Delta and that's it, you can go ahead and open the Delta card and get the status with Delta, and it helps you more. However, there are ways to fly Delta through its partners that you can book those cheap flights. So like the one that I was just talking about, the Atlanta to London flight, that can be taken on Delta plane. Like you were on the plane that would probably be 60,000 Sky Miles one way, where you can book through Virgin Atlantic or Flying Blue, two of their partners for the exact same on the exact same plane for this 6,000, 9,000 points one way.
So simplify, break that down. What you mean partners? Like what you mean by
so that? Good. Thank you. Because I do need to, I get over.
No, I get it. No,
it's good. It's good. So all airlines have, it's called airline alliances. And so these airlines are set up and networked together to basically make sure you can get all across the world by using their partners. So Delta has a partnership, and they're one of the biggest ones, obviously, because they travel basically global. Partners with Virgin Atlantic, which is based out of London, and then Flying Blue, or KLM, which is a Dutch-based program. And Flying Blue is a French company. So these companies all work together to help you better travel across the globe on their planes. So if you're trying to fly like in and out of Amsterdam, you can book it through Delta, but you're going to be on a KLM airplane. So that's the partnership, that the way to explain the partnership. So the partnership then gives you access to book the same flight and book it in different ways. So you can, like I said, take that cheap Delta plane that you're flying on, booked a different way, not just with Sky Miles.
Makes sense. And a lot of people have a lot of points sitting on their credit cards that they don't even know, because the thing is, the way I look at it is that I'm spending this money regardless, right? I'm going to spend this money, meaning that like what he talked about, I know this for sure, like Chase Ink and Chase cards, like they give you a lot of points for going to the grocery store. When you buy your groceries, going to dinner, I eat out a lot. Me and my wife eat out a lot. I mean, when I'm having meetings with people like my friends like you, Jack, we fight who's going to pay the bill. And I'm like, let me pay. I want to pay because I'm getting these points. I need these points, right? So you get a lot of points. So a lot of those points are sitting. So people, I guess my question next, Jack, would be the people who's looking to get into the travel hack thing, and break into it. How would you recommend? Where do they start?
Yeah. So travel hacking in general, I would start, there's multiple layers, and we'll just go one by one. Let's say the first level, you don't want to have anything to do with credit cards. There are multiple hacks out there, such as in Atlanta, going through the international terminal. When you are boarding a flight, you go through international security, take the plane train down to your gate. You avoid all domestic. I told him this earlier. You avoid all the domestic security and all the nonsense that goes on at the main domestic terminal in Atlanta. If you go through international and get dropped off there, you can take the plane train and get to your gate at Delta, let's say Terminal D. And then another hack, again, without any credit card, email the hotel before you travel and tell them what the occasion you're staying there for. If you're on a vacation with, a honeymoon vacation or something like that, or a 5-year anniversary, something like that, and you're going to the beach or going to, St. Thomas, so just pick a random island. If you email that hotel, they will most likely give you an upgraded room along with any amenities like champagne, chocolates, things of that nature that they are trying to promote themselves and make you want to come back and tell people. So on my website, I actually have a template people can use just straight off the website that you can use, just copy paste, put in your details and send to the company, the hotel, the company, before you take the hotel. And that's the basics. That's without any credit cards. Then you go into it, and I'll kind of sum it up quickly, but the category bonuses, if you're spending a lot for food or taking out, eating out, groceries, gas is a big one, especially with real estate agents and investors driving around everywhere to properties. Find the card that best fits. Like, look at all the credit cards you have and see which one best fits your spend. So if you spend the most on going out to eat or groceries, get the credit card, or have the credit card, just use the credit card that will benefit you the most. You don't have to open another credit card. You don't have to do anything like that. Just make sure I need to be using this one at the grocery store to maximize the points I'm getting. Then the final level, of course, is the opening up sign-up bonuses and doing the whole thing, opening up a business card, like he was just saying, for like a 90,000 point sign-up bonus. And you put $6,000 to spend on the card in 3 months, you get this sign-up bonus. For all the investors, and this is why we're all tying it in. I had my preamble, but this is really the meat and potatoes of it. You guys spend so much money on labor, on vendors, on everything that you're doing. So why don't maximize the credit card points for that? Some vendors may charge a fee. However, if you are getting a sign-up bonus of $1,000 worth of travel, and you're paying $50, $100 for the vendor's 2% fee, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth getting $900 worth of travel for a $50 percentage fees when you pay through a credit card.
That was good, because I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm allergic to debt. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm allergic to debt. And this is my thing. What I tell people, that if you want to get these credit cards, you got to know how to play the game. If you're going to play the game, play it right. Because, like, I know Chase, for instance, they give you like a 12-month to 18-month interest free.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially, yeah.
If you play this right, and guess what? Here's the thing. I'm telling you, man, it was so hard to get, like, when I first started trying to establish credits years back, it's like I could not establish credit. When I stacked my business credit, when I found out how to get, credit cards in my business name and stop getting stuff in my personal name, that was it for me, guys. First of all, my credit went up to A1, like, my skyrocketed, right? Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm spending all this credit, like right now. I'm dead serious. Like, I probably have like over $200,000 in credit card debt, but I'm not paying no interest on it. I'm not paying no interest on it. And I don't say people go out there to do that, because guess what? Here's the thing. If you can't pay that off before that 18% interest start kicking in, or you in trouble, because that's what they bank on you to do. 18%. Guess what, guys? Think about that for a second. 18 to 25% these creditors is charging you for the remainder debt that's on those credit cards. That's why people, I think statistically, it was like 80% of people basically are in like credit card debt.
I would say so.
Like in the United States, like over 80%. And the banks is just racking up. If you think about it, just an investment that you're getting 18% annually off of, guys, just think about that. I did the math. I think it was like, I was doing the math with somebody the other day, and I was like, you got to be careful with credit card debt, because, and I don't have my phone on right now, but it was like, it came up to like, I think 4 years. I told them, I was like, let's just say at 18%, and I gave you $200,000. It came to over like $500,000 just in like 4 years.
Absolutely absurd. Yeah. And that's the biggest
just
thing.
An interest.
Yeah, and that's how they're able, and this is the brass tacks of it, is that's how these companies are able to give away these rewards like no one's business. Because it is, unfortunately, the people that don't pay on time and in full. And that's what you have to do in this game. If you want to make, or not make, but if you want to play the game, you have to pay your bills on time and in full, or else the sign-up bonus or the fun points you get for travel won't mean anything. You're losing money at that point. Yeah. So I probably should have started with that. Yeah. But that is most important.
So what's some of the mistakes that you see people trying to get into travel hack and things like that, regarding, stacking up points? What's the mistakes to avoid? They need to avoid, because we just talked about it a little bit. What's the mistakes they need to avoid?
First and foremost, using a debit card. that is the biggest mistake, or bank transfers or anything of that nature. If what you're paying for can use a credit card and you already have the money, and that kind of goes back to what we were just talking about with the paying on time and on full or in full. You have that money in your bank account. Let's say you're doing a $10,000 floor renovation or whatever the case may be. We'll just keep it with flooring today. $10,000 for flooring sitting in your bank account. You're putting that into this house. The vendor says, here's your invoice, $10,000. What you need to, first ask and see if it takes a credit card. But the key of that is to use the credit card to pay, and then just completely pay off that credit card in the next day, because you already have that money set aside. You're not putting yourself at a risk to having to gain the money to be paying off this. You have the money. You could have paid them just bank account transfers, but instead you're going to put it on the credit card and then pay off that credit card, which would then earn you $90,000 points, which is about $1,000 worth of travel. So it's just, you have the money already, and that's why I'm emphasizing you need to have the money already. Don't spend what you can't afford.
That's right.
But having that money instead of just using your debit card for it, and then that's probably the biggest thing.
I totally agree, because I just said to y'all a big number, over $200,000 in debt. But then earlier I said I'm allergic to debt. But understand, right? I have a bunch of flips that I do. So what happens is when I sell the house, we pay off the debt. So I'm paying for material and things like that, guys, daily. And that's why when I hear people, they be like, yeah, it only need $10,000 in work. I'm like, $10,000 in work, what, labor and material? First of all, material has tripled, quadrupled. I'm talking about for a piece of wood, I'm paying triple of what I was paying just last year this time, just for a 2x4. So when people try to kick that to me, I'm like, and you can't just stop playing. $10,000. I can't pay $10,000 to a punch list
Right.
rehab. I'm talking about lipstick on a pig rehab.
Yeah.
It's going to charge me more. It's going to cost me labor and material. Like right now, my average punch list, quick flip renovation, meaning I'm just going in there, paint, new fixtures, new hardware, carpet, new, like I said, light fixtures here and there. I'm minimum $45,000 I pay, minimum. So when people say, when I'm talking to agents, I'm like, how much work? And they like, I only need about $10,000 in work that doesn't even exist. Because $10,000, all I'm getting is paint with that and maybe some carpets. That's it. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, just have a plan. If you're going to go into this, guys, have a plan. Where do you guys think are the best places to start real estate? Or is it about making the best of where you're at now? Yeah, we talked about it. Great questions, man. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Pinka? Pika? Yeah, you asked us some great questions. Start here. Start now. Start with relationships, and if you don't have all the answers, you get with somebody that has all of the answers for you. Like Jack, he's an attorney, right? He can close the deals for you. Jack, information is going to be attached to this show, guys, in the description section. If you need to submit a contract or anything to him, submit the contract. You need help with filling out that contract, you need buyers and things like that, you can come to me for that, right? A lot of other guests on here, they're cash buyers. So I always tell people, like, start with one, just like, let me drive home the point about, we get all over the place here. Let's drive home the point first. Guys, don't fall for the trick of debt. If you're going to get into do it in your business first and foremost. Do it. Get the credit in your business, because if I had $200,000 in my personal name, you got to understand that's driving up my debt to income ratio, which means that affects my credit score. That $200,000 that's sitting right now is not affecting my credit score at all, because it's in my LLCs and multiple LLCs that I have, right? So it's not affecting anything. That's number one. Two, you spend it, pay it off immediately. Don't just leave it lingering around just thinking that it's just going to go away. No, that's where you end up in a world of trouble. And don't get these credit cards and start going to go buy the latest Balenciagas and Louis Vuitton and things like that. I was talking to a friend about that yesterday. He was telling me how a football player, I probably wouldn't even say his name, but he's basically about to get thrown in jail because I was telling him, I was like, one of the richest men, and it fluctuates, but one of the richest men in the world was the guy who owns, Louis Vuitton?
Really?
Louis Vuitton, man.
Interesting.
And in 2021, luxury clothing went through the roof.
Okay.
It was like the biggest year in luxury clothing. And then I said to myself, how is that even possible? And then I thought about it. I said, those stimulant checks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those stimulant checks, man. Yeah. And then those PP, what was those PP?
The loans,
loans. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Yeah. If you want to get the opportunity to get credit, right? Your bank, Chase, is good for this. Give you $10,000, $20,000. Don't go buying no Louis Vuitton, no Rolexes and all that. Invest in your business. Young Pink, I think it was, just talked about invest in your business. Invest in something that's going to make you money. So when you make the money, you pay the debt off immediately. Don't just leave it staying there, man. And you want to make sure that ultimately, guys, you stay debt free. You know what I mean? Don't get in all this debt, this credit card debt, and don't have exit strategies on hand as to how you're going to pay this credit card debt off, okay? Because one of the things we talked about, man, is that Jack talked about, it's a lot of people right now, guys, in a bad place financially, and they can never seem to crawl out because they made bad decisions, and right now they have a lot of bad debt. Bad decisions that, Chase gave them. Like Navy Federal. Everybody know about the Navy Federal. They're like, I'm at Navy Federal, and Navy Federal will giving people $20,000, $30,000. Yeah. But don't take it, guys, if you can't pay it all. That's all I would say. But Jack is great with the travel hacks. Jack, any last, encouraging words that you would give to the audience from one, the legal perspective, right? You're a closing attorney, you see a lot of stuff, right? What what is some advice you would give to our audience, right? That's currently doing deals, looking to do deals to keep them, one, out of trouble and making sure that they're protecting the public, but two, just to make sure they're doing things in an honest and safe way.
Yeah. So I would say read and disclose. That's the biggest thing. Just read. Know what you're signing, know what you're having your client sign if you're on the other side of this. Just understand fully the agreements and binding contracts that we all are getting into these days, because it really happens, maybe not all the time, but occasionally, of a seller calls me directly, like bypasses their agent and is like, I got a better offer or whatever. How do I get out of this deal? And I'm like, you have to know that you're in this binding contract. There is no way put a pin in that, but there is not many ways you can get out of a contract. And it's not like you can just all of a sudden up and leave because you have a better deal on the table. And that's one thing that, if it's just the education piece of reading what you're signing, and it sounds obvious, but in this industry, sometimes it's not. And then disclosing would be the other piece of advice, kind of to protect yourself.
That's so good.
Because if you disclose anything about the property that you if you knew or in the process of finding out, disclose it to the other side, because if not, it's going to be a world, like I said earlier, a world of hurt on your side, because the problems, like to round about all the way out, the problems that we see most common are non-disclosures and the lawsuits stemming from that. So buyers suing the seller, the owner of the property, for not disclosing. So it happens.
And one of the things he tapped on, I want to, make sure we bring this back up. Make sure that when you're buying these properties, he touched on this earlier for you guys who came on late, make sure you get title insurance and a lender policy. Title insurance and a lender policy. I purchased the property recently, right? To where my son went in and signed for us. They missed the title insurance. And my guys was there at the house, renovating the house. A lady walks up to him and say, hey, what are you guys doing? Why are y'all taking stuff out of my house and tearing my house up? Guy said, excuse me? He said, no, you need to call the owner and talk to the owner about it. I'm here as a contractor. I'm doing a job. She said, I am the owner. I'm thinking this is just some random lady just coming, bothering my guys, whatever, right? Come to find out, he gave the lady my number. The lady, sent me a text, long text, and I ended up getting on the phone with the lady. The lady really was the owner. So I don't know how or when, but the guy who sold the house to us had basically took over the lady's LLC. He took over our LLC, and he went into the closing attorney's office and signed documentation on behalf of that LLC and everything that owned that property. And they sold that house to us, right? So here we are. We all in a couple $100,000 at this point. We started renovation and everything, right? So the first thing I do is, of course, call my closing attorney, right? I call my closing attorney. I'm like, hey, man, listen. I'm talking to a lady, man. She's saying she's the owner of the house. She didn't sell this house to her. What's going on? They started to dive into it and started to look into it, to come to find out, yeah, man, this guy was a scammer. Wow. The guy was a scammer. But check this out. They wired the money to him. The closing attorneys start going after him like, hey, so the title company tried to pull back the closing. Right? Yeah. They tried to pull back the closing because it was only a couple of days, like maybe 2 days when we got when they got the phone call from me. They tried to pull back the closing. And then they was basically saying how they didn't want to insure the property and insure the claim because, again, I didn't have title insurance. But guess what saved me?
The lender policy?
The lender policy.
There it is, yeah.
The lender policy, guys. They missed the title insurance, but the lender policy is what saved my behind, man. The lender policy is what got the money back, guys, that I basically borrowed from my private investor, who was a great friend of mine. You know what I mean? They trust in you. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Investing is everybody say like, there's no guarantee and it's risk and everything and every investment. But guess what, man? You want to make sure, guys, that if you ain't able to make a penny off that money, you pay back your lenders. You know what I mean? So I would have actually ended up having to chalk a couple $100,000 if all was said and done because of a mistake that the closing attorneys, they missed it. But that's what we talked about early, guys, making sure I myself purchased the property. Again, the guy came to the closing attorney's office, signed the paperwork and everything, got the wire, received the wire. We had the house. Come to find out it was a scam. He wasn't the real owner. He ended up, so let me close this and close it. He ended up sending the money back.
Wow.
Can you believe this? The guy, he had the money. They wired the money to him. When they called him and said, hey, man, look, some things happened here. Look, we're going to need you to wire the money back until we resolve this issue. The guy who was the scammer was like, look, he sent the money back, but we still it was an agent involved. Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It was an agent involved. The commissions was already out. It was a lot of, money that was already out. And long story short, they had to cover everything because the lender policy was in place. Thank God. Right. So with that being said, guys, just again, protection. This is what we're talking about. It happened to me and I'm 20 years plus into the game. I had no control over that though. Because I'm trusting on a company like Jack. It was a Jack company. It wasn't a Jack company. But I'm trusting on an attorney, right? He specializes in what he specializes in, right? He's an attorney. They work along with the title company to make sure that they're able to hand off to me for clear and marketable title. That's what we talked about earlier. But if I don't have that, man, and you buying a property without a title insurance, you could get into a world of hurt. So that's why I was telling, the people earlier, make sure that you even get with somebody that's a trusted source. Jack company, you see people coming up on here like, they stayed up in one closing till we said 11 p.m. at night.
I love that.
Doing a deal. Who does that?
Yeah,
like, when they do that?
We make it happen.
They make it happen, man, and they're very reputable, guys. I can vouch for them. Wiseman is a very reputable firm. They're good people, man, and they will make it happen for you. Guys, listen, man. With all that being said and done, Jack, I'm going to hand this mic over to you, man, one last time. What do you have to say to our audience? A lot of people right now, and again, man, they're trying to figure this thing out. In closing, with the travel hacks, I want to touch on in closing, what advice would you give to them in closing regarding the travel hacks on, again, not only just to get started, what credit card you advise them to start with, and how to make sure that they avoid what we're talking about, making sure that they don't get in a world to hurt by incurring that debt?
Yeah, for sure. So I always say the best card to start with, the Chase Sapphire Preferred.
Ooh.
Chase Sapphire Preferred, that's the one that I always say to start with. It's a low minimum spend on the card, but the bonus right now is 75,000 points, which is enough for a 2 round trip tickets to Europe. You'll just say maybe in business, depending if you can get a deal. But the biggest thing, and from that, then you can just accrue your points and play the game the way you want it. Everyone's at different stages in the travel hacking game. You don't have to go crazy overboard with how much credit cards you have and doing all this. Try one, see if you like it the first day. And we were talking about, it doesn't also have to be a European or Bahamas vacation or something crazy like that. It can be a roadside Hyatt place that's it's $200 a night that you would have to pay. Instead, use points on that. It would be a free, save you $200 a night, $500 for the weekend. And it's because you put your groceries for 3 weeks in a row on this one card and saved up enough points. It's as simple as that. You just do that a couple times and then you let it grow. And then once it grows, you're going to get addicted and you'll turn up like me, but you'll really like it a lot. So that kind of my closing advice. And then just kind of overall closing advice, stay curious, keep the knowledge, trying to gain knowledge in this, one, in investing, and two, credit card, travel hacking, everything like that. And just be open-minded. That's kind of where it got me. And I just build relationships.
Wow. Jack, thank you, man.
Absolutely. This was fun. Yeah, for sure.
It's a blessing, man. Yeah. So, man, until the next episode, guys, let's continue to go and grow. I'll see y'all on the next show. Let's be blessed. I'll see y'all, guys. Thank y'all.